Welcome back to Bears News Fan Report. I'm bringing you the latest updates, real rumors around our team, straight from a fan who watches every snap and lives this franchise day to day. And tonight, I'm going to pull a few threads that most people are missing. Quick rundown of what you'll get from me. How Cincinnati's quarterback situation really shifts their play calling. Why Jamar Chase forces you to defend every blade of grass. What Jordan Battle changes in the middle of the field even when the Bengals struggle. How Cam Taylor-Britt's volatility can be attacked without risking turnovers. And the trench matchup that could flip the entire script if we play it with nerve. I'm not handing the headline away in the first minute. Stay with me. Because the turning point sits where most fans aren't looking. And it becomes obvious only when we put all the pieces on the table and follow the footprints they've left the last 3 weeks. We're sitting at 4-3 after a humbling 30-16 loss to Baltimore that snapped a 4-game streak and reminded everyone that winning in this league is about stacking answers after setbacks, not just chest thumping after wins. The Bengals come in at 3-5, a hot and cold team that refuses to fold. Joe Burrow went down early in the year, but veteran Joe Flacco walked in, learned the language fast, and lit a spark. Even at 40 and barely a month into their system, he's played clean, heavy ball football, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, a passer rating north of 100, and when he's on the field, the ball gravitates to one place, Chase, and not by accident. With Flacco under center, Chase has lived on volume and punishment, around 18 targets, 12 receptions, 115 yards per game, and flirting with a touchdown every Sunday. You can try to cap him with safety help, spin late rotations, match leverage with inside trail, and peel the hook curl defender into his window. But the second the timing is on schedule, he's breaking your ankle. That's why our secondary getting healthier matters. Tyreek Stevenson should be back from the shoulder, and adding C.J. Gardner-Johnson inside to stabilize nickel, while Kyler Gordon sits gives us disguise and punch at the catch point. It doesn't turn a Chase matchup into a win, but it turns a fire into a controlled burn if we tackle clean and deny yards after catch. Cincinnati's defense is its own contradiction. The unit has struggled overall, but there are island players who make you think twice about throwing lazy. Jordan Battle is one of them. He's been a headache for quarterbacks, 3 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, opposing passer rating in the mid-50s, and he reads diagonals as well as anybody they've got. But if you drag him into the second level and make him tackle backs downhill, misfits show up and the math turns in your favor. That's where our plan must breathe, not just to hunt explosives, but to win the body blows. Run wide zone early to stress pursuit, bring back duo and counter to compress the box, then marry it with RPO slants right behind the step of those safeties. It's not complicated football, it's grown-up football. Cam Taylor-Britt is the Bengals' wild card. 2 seasons ago, he looked like he was stepping into the ascending corner conversation with 7 picks across. 2-0-2-3-2-4, sticky in phase and aggressive through the catch. This season tells a different story benching a couple weeks back. Missed tackles spiking, an opponent passer rating north of 130. That's the definition of feast or famine, and if you treat him like he's broken, he'll take your lunch. But if you force him to tackle after spacing routes and punish off leverage with quick gain, you start to stack 5-yard wins that matter on 3rd down. With Caleb Williams settling his feet and this offense leaning into rhythm throws and defined reads, we can put Taylor-Britt in traffic and force Cincinnati to either roll help, opening middle windows, or let him fight on an island where a single false step equals a drive-changing flag. Now, the quarterback on the other side dictates your margin for error. Flacco's status is still the variable AC joint sprain on the throwing shoulder, but trending toward playing. If he goes, expect classic veteran sequence. Early flats to set up a layered dig, turn and fire fades when you show single high, and enough play action to make your linebackers hesitate. If he can't go or looks limited, Cincinnati's offense compresses, and you can sit flatter in zone while bracketing Chase with a corner on the line and a safety reading the eyes. Either way, the point holds. Take away the first read and force Cincinnati to build a second answer, because that's where their rhythm frays. Let me talk about our own arc for a second. The 4-game win streak wasn't a mirage. It was complementary football. Defense playing tight, offense protecting the rock, special teams giving us field position that didn't bury Caleb behind the sticks. The Ravens punched us in the mouth, but the response at Hollis Hall this week wasn't panic. It was detail. It was alignment, depth, and footwork. It was rep speed. It was coaches emphasizing angles and leverage so that tackles finish and penalties disappear. That's how you grow a young roster from fun to formidable. You want specifics on where I think the game tilts? Zoom in on Cincinnati's pass rush. The guy everybody circles is Trey Hendrickson monster edge. Tempo setter, relentless motor, but his hip has him in that gray area. If Hendrickson is limited or out, the Bengals' pressure picture changes, and it changes a lot. You can see it on tape. The front loses teeth, stunts don't land the same, and coordinators start manufacturing heat they'd rather not bring. That's where the name most fans aren't talking about enters the frame, Shemar Stewart. First-round pick, built like a prototype, athletic profile that makes coaches dream. But so far in the league, he's been more projection than production, to the point that he's recorded fewer tackles than the wide receiver we've spent all night worrying about. That's not me picking on a rookie. It's context for a decision we can force Cincinnati to make. Because if Hendrickson can't carry the load, Lou Anarumo has two choices. Let Stewart play honest on base downs and hope he wins clean. Or scheme him free with overloaded fronts, wide nine alignments, and simulated pressures that stress our protection. And that's where our left tackle situation is the truth test. Theo Benedette has had a roller coaster stretch good feet. Length you can't teach, but he's learning NFL speed, and you feel the rookie waves. Put a first-round Bengals edge across from a rookie left tackle and most broadcasts will sell you fear. I'm not buying it. I'm buying the plan. Here's the drumbeat I've been hearing, and the chessboard I see. Early, I expect the Bears to neutralize Stewart with variety, not just help. First series, a couple of quick hitters to his side stop routes and hitches, so he's staring at the ball snapping out before he can turn the corner. Then a tight end chip from a condensed set, where the chip is actually a strike to the rib and Stewart has to play from behind the down, mixing a draw when he pins his ears back. Come back with a duo run right at his inside shoulder, forcing him to anchor and shed in traffic instead of getting that clean runway. Add motion toward him to trigger Cincy's run fits, then throw the glance route behind the triggered safety. Repeat with tempo, and your rookie tackle suddenly looks like he's in rhythm instead of on an island. This is how you turn a potential mismatch into a lever. All of that is the setup. The revelation, the thing that changes this game's pulse, if lands isn't just that Stewart hasn't produced yet or that Hendrickson might be limited. It's that the Bears are circling Stewart as the pressure point in Cincinnati's front and preparing to turn him from an X factor into a decision, our decision. The plan is to attack his space relentlessly and on our terms, chips when he wants speed, double teams when he wants power, screens through his zone when he widens, RPO slants behind his replacement when they sub to protect him. If we execute, we don't just survive the edge. We steal possessions because third and forever for them becomes third and manageable for us, and our defense can play downhill. That's the crux I've been building to, and it's why you felt me pulling the camera closer to that matchup all night. Of course, none of this lives in a vacuum. To make Stewart the pivot, we still have to handle Chase with disciplined top-down brackets, rally and tackle, force Cincinnati to stack drives instead of detonating the game with one shot. We still have to respect Battle's range while dragging him into the alleys where he has to finish on backs who are falling forward. We still need Caleb decisive and efficient, living in rhythm, protecting the ball, and trusting that 5-yard wins in the first quarter become haymakers in the fourth. But when you strip away the noise, this matchup gives us a clean storyline. If we win on the edge, we own the schedule. If we own the schedule, we dictate the terms. Before I land this plane, I want your read on it. Drop your take right now in the comments. Would you attack Stewart from the first snap or flip the script and go right at Taylor Britt to force Cincinnati into soft coverage? Do you want more quick gain to keep Caleb clean or a heavier dose of downhill runs to make Battle tackle all night? Tell me how you'd script the first 15 plays and who you'd feature to make the Bengals declare their coverage shell. I'll be in there with you, answering and debating, because this community sees details national shows don't touch. My concise verdict is this: the Bears can win this by turning Shemar Stewart into the hinge of Cincinnati's defense, and then slamming the door on that hinge, stress him with tempo, chip him with bodies, run at him when he wants to rush, and use his side as the launch pad for Caleb's rhythm. If we do that while keeping a lid on Chase and tackling clean, the fourth quarter will belong to us. If you're riding with that plan, tap in subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this with the diehards who live for line play and game plan chess. I'll keep bringing you fast updates and deep breakdowns. And after the final whistle, I'll be right back here to grade how the plan held up and what it means for the next step in this season.